Hello everyone, today is Thursday, June 3rd, and today we're going to be talking about the writing process. Now, if you look, I did want you to skim pages 57 through 66 in your textbook before you started this video, because we're going to be talking about that stuff that's in those few pages. So let's go ahead and get started. This should be a fairly quick video, so maybe you won't have to spend too much time here. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the writing process. It says chapter 7. I know in your books it's not chapter 7. But that's fine. We are just talking about the writing process. So, the first thing that you want to do when you start writing is to develop writing habits that work for you. Like, some people work better with the TV on or music playing. Some people work better in silence, some work well in the morning, some work well in the evenings. You have to figure out your best environment, and this goes for studying too, and try to foster that environment. And multitasking is a bad idea, so it's not really a good idea to sit down and try to write something or try to study and having to be doing 2 or 3 things at once. Now, I understand, we're all grown-ups. We all probably have lives outside of this course. We may have other courses, we have other jobs, we have kids, spouses, parents, like we all have stuff going on. So sometimes multitasking is just completely unavoidable. But in general, we should try to make our space where we study or write as copacetic as possible. For me, I can't have anything on. I can't do music, I can't do a TV, I get way too distracted. So I have to work in silence, and I usually do better during the day, like the afternoon stretch, than I do any other time. So I had a professor in college who said that his thing was he had to have the window open and the TV on in the background and a citrus drop, and that's how he wrote. So we're all different, so just figure out what works best for you and make that happen whenever you can, because you're going to do your best work when you're in a good environment. Or good environment is not really the right word. The environment that fosters your learning the best. So a roadmap of the writing process. So the very, very, very first thing that you need to do is you need to understand your assignment. So you should read any assignment sheet that you get completely. And if a genre has not been assigned to you, which in this class that'll never happen. You'll always have like narrative, analysis, compare, contrast. Those are what are considered genres. So I'll always assign it to you, but sometimes in some classes you may not have that. So just look for keywords like analyze, evaluate, compare, things like that that'll help you understand what this person is wanting from you. And then you come up with a topic. In this course, I always let you, I give you a free range more so. I don't give you a topic. I don't say, okay, you have to write about this one thing and that's it. I give you, like for the narrative essay, I tell you that you have to write about a significant moment in your life. You get to pick that moment. So it's a broad topic, and I just have you narrow it down. For your review and your research essay, I'm just letting you go crazy and pick whatever you want. So when your topic is assigned, try to find something about it that interests you, because it sucks to have to spend a lot of time writing about something that you're just like, I super don't care about this thing. I deleted that. Ignore that slide. Ignore this one. So schedule your time. Essays are hard to write, okay? So trying to write one on the day that it's due, it's not only going to be hard, but it's going to negatively impact your grade. If you try to rush through it, it's not going to work. So the best thing to do is to stretch it out over a few days, which is part of what we're going to be doing in this class, actually. So here's a writing process breakdown, and this is where we get into the stretching it out over a few days. So the very first thing that we do is pre-write. And pre-writing is just brainstorming. This is where you take your ideas and you get them out of your head and you figure out kind of what you want to talk about. So there are, you see here, clustering, free writing, looping, drawing, questioning. So free writing is when you take your phone or a little timer and you set it for like 5 minutes and you say, okay, I'm going to write about this topic for just 5 minutes, and you just write and write and write and write and write. And at the end of the 5 minutes, you go back and read what you wrote and you're like, okay, so this is what I'm wanting to talk about. And then you turn that into an essay. Drawing, that's self-explanatory. Oh, sorry for the ding. It was my email. I apologize. Drawing is just when you draw out your ideas. If you're a visual learner, that can be helpful. I've had people record themselves talking on their phones. I've had people draw. You can do whatever works for you. Let me show you what clustering and outlining are. We've probably all done some form of clustering. So see, it's just the little word map. So you have your main idea, and then connected to your main ideas are the smaller ideas, and then connected to the smaller ideas are the little tiny details. So that's what clustering is. My favorite thing to do when I'm writing an essay is to do an outline. So you break it down into 1, 2, 3. We don't have 4 yet. We won't do that until the last essay. So your first one will be your introduction. That's where you do your thesis statement. You do any background information. Second part is the body, where you'll break down your paragraphs. And then your third is your conclusion. So this is essentially you're writing your essay in a broken down form, and then you just sort of fill in the blanks when you start actually writing. This is my favorite way to do it. But again, you can... Is it gone forever? Sorry again for my email. You can pre-write however you want. Actually, let me do this really fast. Aha. You can pre-write however you want, whatever works best for you. It does not matter to me. You will be turning it in. And if you do something like you draw it out on paper, or you talk into your phone, or however you pre-write, if you do something like that, just let me know and we'll figure out the best way to submit it, because you do have to submit these. That's all pre-writing is. It's just getting your ideas out there. And after you pre-write, you're then going to write your rough draft. Oh, you could do research if you need to. For most of the time, for this, we are not going to have research except for your research essay, and we will talk about that when we get there. Again, you remember we have to cite correctly to avoid plagiarism. Creating a tentative thesis, that comes up during the pre-writing process. We're going to talk more about what a thesis is in a couple of days. I can't remember when we start on the thesis, but we'll talk about that in a couple of days. And then after we do our pre-writing, we do any research that we need to do, we start a rough draft. So a complete draft includes an introduction paragraph, some body paragraphs, and a conclusion paragraph. Usually the introduction is the most difficult to write, because good introductions should grab the reader's attention and make them want to keep reading. So usually what I tell people to do is write your essay and then go back and write your introduction. And that's easy for me to say. Personally, I can't do it, so I totally understand if you can't do it. If you're like, no, I have to go to point A, to point B, to point C, that's fine. Write it however you want to write it, but you do need an introduction that grabs your reader's attention, body paragraphs that support your thesis, and then a conclusion paragraph. So you just have to have those 3 things. So after you write out your draft, so your body paragraphs is support your thesis, and then the conclusion sums everything up and hits the highlights of the essay. Again, we'll get more in depth in this in a couple of days. So when you're writing a draft, make sure to be flexible. You have flexibility in your writing. You can change anything that you're saying up until the moment you turn that essay in. So don't say, oh, I have to write about this one thing. No, you can broaden it always up until the moment you turn it in. So after we've pre-written, we wrote out our draft, now we're going to get responses from others. So this is where we're going, it says you'll be required to peer review at least 4 classmates' essays. That's not true. You're only going to be doing 1. So you're going to be looking at each other's essays, making comments on it, and so on and so forth. I have a whole sheet for y'all to fill out for peer reviews, and you're also going to send your essay to me, and I'm going to look at it and make some comments and suggestions about stuff that you can change, stuff that you can do better. And remember, I've been doing this for a minute, and I also control your grade, so make sure that you really take into consideration what I have to say about your essays. And then after you do peer review, then you look at your peer reviews, and then you look at what I said, and then you make any changes that are necessary to your essay to make it better. So just a really quick breakdown of the writing process. You have you have pre-writing, and then you have I changed this, and I just want to know, is this the same one, or did I download it later? No, yeah. Okay. All right. So the writing process is the pre-writing, which if you look again at our course schedule, you will see that we're going to discuss the narrative essay in the PowerPoint, and then I have a writing day after that, next Tuesday, and at the end of that day, your rough draft and your pre-writing will be due. So, and then the next 2 days, we're going to do peer review, and then the next day, your final draft will be due. So that's kind of how we're going to follow the writing process for each one of those. And if you have any questions about pre-writing or peer review, we will touch on peer review. I will make a whole video on how to peer review, best ways to do it, and all of that. So don't worry too much about peer review. If you have any questions about pre-writing, just let me know. And again, you can pre-write in any way that you want to. It does not matter, just as long as you're able to turn it in. Okay, guys, that's it for this one. I told you I was gonna try and make it short and sweet. 15-20 minutes maybe. So if you have any questions, just let me know. Remember, your grammar homework packet is due tomorrow, June 4th by 11:59 p.m. via email. Yeah, and I think that's everything for this one. So y'all have a good day. Let me know if you need anything, okay?